you guys have seen on this channel recently, I have been experimenting and getting back into cosplay. I started social media as a cosplayer. The whole reason that I made my main channel right here was to actually start becoming like a cosplayer. Like, I wanted to be a YouTube cosplayer. Boy, did that differ, because I did not do that. But I did cosplay for like 4 or 5 years religiously, to the point of genuinely just quitting because I got so burnt out with cosplay. I stopped for years, maybe 2 to 3 years I stopped, but now I'm starting to pick it back up again with a new mindset of cosplay. So today I wanted to share 5 tips that I have learned that I needed to learn, and that I hope other people will learn as well when getting into cosplay, especially if you're new or like me, returning. So here are Glitter M's cosplay tips. The first one, which is the biggest one that I had to learn and overcome as someone who has a content creator mindset. I'm someone who is always looking at views and analytics and comments and all that jazz. Genuinely, my biggest tip, don't put too much pressure on looking for views and looking to grow super quickly, because it's just not going to happen. The biggest issue that I had with cosplay is that I would beat myself up if I had a post that underperformed. If it didn't do well, I would beat myself up over it, because this is not up to the standard, this is not what I usually get. What did I do wrong? And a lot of times, it's not that I did anything wrong, it's just algorithms. The algorithm is something that I have struggled with for a very long time. I literally have made videos talking about it. I think that one's kind of outdated now, but it's one of those things where I always feel like I finally get a grasp of it, and then it jumps out of my hand. So honestly, if you're really looking to grow, I think the best way that I could tell you tips to grow is like, do cosplays that are trending, but only do cosplays if they're trending if you want to do it, because that's going to take the fun out of it. But if you see that a specific series, like an anime or a cartoon, is trending and you really like that anime or cartoon or series, and you really like a certain character, cosplay them. It's popular, people are probably looking for that. Also, hop on trends. Trends are a huge thing in the cosplay community. If you see one person do it and they get a lot of views, expect a lot of other people to follow. You can use trending audios, you can use trending dances or poses or whatever to help boost your analytics, but don't put too much pressure on your analytics. At the end of the day, yes, it is nice to grow and to be recognized for being a cosplayer, but it's gonna take time in the long run, and you're just gonna have to wait patiently and just have fun with it. Number 2, secondhand. It's not a bad thing to secondhand buy stuff for cosplay. This is something I've always done. I have had people make fun of me because I buy secondhand cosplays, and like, I'm sorry, but even when I was working a job, costumes and cosplay accessories are not cheap, and the equipment that comes along with cosplaying is not cheap. You want to have tripods, you want to have ring lights, maybe even background lights. It's not a cheap hobby, especially when you're a teenager. I bring this up because I was a teenager when I started cosplaying, but a lot of cosplayers are teenagers and they just don't have the money. Some of them, I didn't have the money. Even when I worked a job, I did not have the money to go out and buy like Genshin Impact cosplays that were like $200 without the wig and accessories. Like, are you kidding me? If you're looking for a costume and it's expensive and kind of out of your budget, I would definitely recommend going to a secondhand site, like maybe Mercari's, where I mostly use. You can go to Poshmark, Depop. There's so many to choose from, and genuinely, I would say they're mostly in good quality. Definitely take a look through the photos, ask questions. But I have found a whole lot of cosplays over the years on Mercari. I've also sold cosplays on Mercari. It's just a great thing to do when you don't want a costume anymore, to resell it and get some money back. And I even put this into buying new cosplays. I sell an old one, I buy a new one with the money that I sold it from. It's honestly a great return and exchange program. Cosplay is one of those things that I've realized you don't want to be super cheap with things, because if you do buy the cheaper costumes, sometimes it does break quickly and it's not the quality that the photos showcase. But then I've also been on the other side where I buy a higher price costume and I have to go in and completely redo it. I'm looking at you, my latest video. But secondhand costumes aren't always a bad thing, and sometimes you might find some gems. Number 3, I would definitely say to experiment with wigs. This is something that I still am kind of iffy about, and I'm trying to get out of my own comfort space, whether that's styling a wig or maybe doing something a little different. Personally, I am not someone who likes to crimp wigs. For me personally, that's just not what I like to do for cosplay. A lot of people do that, and that's completely fine and up to the cosplayer. For me, it's not really my thing. I know a lot of cosplays have been going around with this plastic glass looking wigs where you glue on plastic to make it kind of shiny, and if that's what you like, then definitely go for it. Give it a shot. I think we can all say that we have seen a cosplayer at some point who has this amazingly constructed, beautiful wig, and you are just awe-inspired by it. Wigs genuinely are so fun to experiment with, whether it's just trying a hairstyle or DIYing it to connect together. They are so fun, and if you're looking to improve your cosplay skills, definitely try dabbling with some wigs. Maybe even purchase just a cheap wig from Amazon and just try some stuff. Just try gluing some stuff to it. I've seen people who do glitter sparkle wigs. You are my heroes and I love you. That is so amazing. Number 4, I would definitely say if you're going to be a cosplayer, you need to at least know the sewing basics. And I say this because genuinely, there have been so many times where I have gone to a con and something happens with my costume. Either a seam comes undone and parts of the cosplay start coming to pieces, or buttons fly off, or sometimes even Velcro has come off. And I do think it's really helpful, especially if you're going to a con for a long time and even performing or walking on stage or acting or whatever at con, I would definitely take a mini sewing case with me just so that you can pop it out of a bag and stitch up something if it rips or falls off, because costumes are not always going to be 100% perfect the day of the con, especially if you're walking or doing intense movement, if you're on stage. They're definitely gonna fall apart, and I think you need to know a little bit of basics just in case so that you can fix your costume up in the moment. Or again, if you're like me, occasionally I buy costumes and they just don't fit. Either they're too big or they're too small, so I whip out my sewing machine and I do a little bit of handiwork. I am not the best seamstress ever, which you can see again in this video over here that I cosplayed with my Mau Mau stuff, because the costume was too big in places, too small in others, and I am not the best seamstress. But I have been cosplaying for a while. I did do some indie idol stuff where I had to make my own costume, and I do think it is beneficial to learn how to use a sewing machine. It looks scary, but it's definitely not as scary as it seems, and it will help you in the long run of learning to cosplay. And if you want to be a cosplayer who sews their own garments, not everyone does, but if you want to, that is going to be the beginning step to helping you develop that craft. And number 5 is one that I'm currently also still learning, because when you're a cosplayer, you're always constantly learning and trying to improve. Number 5 for me is lighting and posing. And I say this because as someone who is also an artist, I dabble in art, learning light sourcing will help you not just in art, but in cosplay as well. If you've ever seen any references for light where it shows a sun and then there's a character, it shows how the sun is reflecting on the character, you need to think about that as a cosplayer taking photos as well. For example, this is my Mau Mau cosplay, and as you can see, I had to do a lot of editing with this one because I did not have a good light source, because I was under a pavilion, the sun was way too bright, and it was washing me completely out. I have this weird white glow because I am paler than pale apparently, and this one came out just really dark. This one that I took at home under lights and having a ring light, I definitely think that this one came out much brighter and much natural with light because I had a direct light source. This definitely, I would say, applies more to cosplayers when you're outside and you're cosplaying. You need to kind of follow the light. In certain cases, it's gonna be too bright. In certain cases, it's gonna be too dark. I would definitely just experiment. Maybe if you're with a friend or having a photographer who's skilled, maybe they'll already know, or if you have a friend, they can kind of direct you around. And for posing, I would definitely look at other cosplayers' pages and try to see what kind of poses they do, because different characters are going to do different poses. My tip for this one as well is to definitely maybe make a mood board. Like, I'm an Instagram cosplayer, that's where I post on my cosplays, and so on my cosplay page, I had like just saved photo boards of costumes and like poses that I really liked. For example, certain costumes will require certain poses. Like if you're wearing a princess dress that has a corset, of course you're not going to be able to do a lot of sitting, so you're going to do a lot of standing. I would definitely go surfing for some poses that you like and just try to be creative. Like, one of the best things you can do is just feel it out. Just see what works best and be creative with your own poses. I definitely have a set pose, and I need to stop with that. But anyway, these were M's tips for cosplayers, and again, some of these are tips that I'm still trying to get better at as well, because again, when you're a cosplayer, you're never going to come to a stalemate. You're always going to be trying to get better and to improve, because that's what the craft is. It's about having fun and improving, and you're going to get better. If you feel like you're not good enough, you'll get better with time and patience and work. Cosplay is a skill as much as it is just for fun. But anyway, if you have any tips, let me know down below. What are some of your tips for beginner or cosplayers who are getting back into cosplay? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!